All right, everybody, we are live. It looks like I got the cue that we are live. So I am gonna get started here. Here we have a look at radar. So you can't quite see me yet, but myself and meteorologist Matt Willoughby, we're going to be kind of showing you what we are looking at. So we are here this evening getting ready for our newscast. Here is meteorologist Matt Willoughby joining in, and things so far have been pretty quiet in Northwest Ohio, so that is good news for us. Yeah. Matt, you've been tracking this all day. Kind of catch us up on what we have seen so far.
Yeah, so a lot of those showers pretty much have been a bit on and off at times, but we haven't, good news is we haven't seen much sunshine, so that hasn't necessarily gave some fuel to these storms they'll be rolling in the evening hours. So good news is we've stayed mostly cool and cloudy, but we have seen, you know, that on and off kind of pattern throughout this morning.
Right. I had some heavier downpours that I saw before I came in. I could hear it on the roof, and those heavy downpours will be something that we continue to watch. So I want to turn it back over to radar, and this is what we're looking at throughout southeast Michigan and Northwest Ohio. So it looks like we're pretty calm and quiet, but there's actually a lot more going on to this picture. As I zoom out, you can see that there's rainfall moving in, some storms that are moving in. We also have storms towards our south. Those are moving in, and we actually have some severe thunderstorm warnings around the Columbus area. So I'll actually take us down there first. Though this is out of our viewing area, maybe you have some family that's just south of Columbus or east of the Cincinnati areas. So just be mindful that they are dealing with some storms here tonight. We actually have seen, I know one of our news teammates, they were saying that they've seen quite a bit of damage reports coming out around Columbus. What were some of the damages that they were seeing, or threats from those storms?
Yeah, some of those threats were even like just south of Columbus. I saw the report almost 1.5 inches of hail size, so almost tennis ball size hail just south of Columbus. So yeah, definitely packing a punch down there in just south of Columbus.
And speaking of that, I do want to again confirm that right now things are calm and quiet here. Yes. We are still going to be watching out though for some stronger thunderstorms, and the one strong thunderstorm that I am watching is right now along the state line into Ohio and Indiana. So if you're around Van Wert or even around Gibson, that's where we're starting to see those thunderstorms roll in. So far we have seen no warnings along this line, but as this continues to move in, we actually have quite a bit of energy. We have seen some clearing on satellite in those locations, so we're going to keep an eye to this. Now, where is it going? Of course, that's the number one question that everybody wants to know. So this is a look at some of our future times along this line. So of course, it's going to be in Van Wert right now. We're also going to be seeing this around Jefferson at 4:40. Some locations, if you're joining us maybe from Lima, just shortly after 5 o'clock. And then we'll see that into Findlay around 5:30. We'll also be on air, of course, at that time during our newscast. So I'll be continuing to cover this on air. So make sure you tune in to WTOL 11 at 5 o'clock. And if you're in Fostoria, you have until about 5:45. So right now we don't see anything along this line that is severe. However, I have seen some gusty winds being reported, and those wind gusts have been around 50 miles per hour. So that's still packing a punch, 50-mile-per-hour winds. But I also want to remind you that 60 miles per hour is that threshold on when the National Weather Service will issue that warning. So we are just below that severe criteria, but we could see that develop. So make sure you're staying tuned, of course, on air. Like I said, 5 o'clock. We'll be on WTOL 11. I'll also have updates on our app, of course, online. There's so many ways that you can connect with us. So we hope that you will be joining us for later on this evening. Now, this storm threat itself, well, I'm going to zoom out here and let me get that path off of there. You can see that there's just not a lot off towards our west. So once we get through this line, we still have this boundary that's going to be moving through, but this is really what we're going to be watching here. But once we get through that, we're pretty clear as we get into the rest of our evening. So this strong thunderstorm threat, that will start to diminish as we get into that 10 o'clock time frame. That's when we will be having that all clear. Another thing that we will be seeing with these thunderstorms, the biggest threats are going to be gusty winds and also some small hail. So though we have seen hail further south, that's where the severe threat is quite a bit stronger, but we will be seeing still the potential for those gusty winds. So if you have the patio chairs out, maybe you have that pot of flowers, bring them on in and just, put them out maybe a little bit later. Now, that's just a quick update. Again, I want everybody to stay just kind of weather aware, especially if you're in our southern counties. If you're along I-80 and south, that's where we're going to be tracking this line. And again, I'll do a new track on that.
Yeah, and Diane, we also starting to get some questions in from Heather saying, will Sandusky see anything? Well, yeah, Sandusky, can you pull up, see if you can pull up the timer as far as Sandusky goes? Well,
that's going to be quite a ways. Yeah. So I just want to pull out to here at this point to see. So if you're in Findlay or even Fostoria around 5:30, 5:45, that's when we're going to be seeing it. But as I put this back into motion and kind of seeing around the Sandusky area, you're going to be right along the turnpike. So as this continues to push through, you will still have that threat. So that's why you got to have that WTOL 11 weather app ready to go, because you're still going to be seeing that mainly towards that later half of the dinner time frame to be moving in. And we actually just now have that severe thunderstorm warning. Matt, could you check on that?
Yes.
From our partners at the National Weather Service? So this is out of our WTOL 11 viewing area, but still it's just south of Van Wert, so that's going to be very close to the Spencer area. And what information are you reading from that severe thunderstorm warning?
Yeah, so we're seeing just a severe thunderstorm warning, winds up to 60 miles per hour, and then also we're seeing just around a third of a quarter of an inch of some hail possibly.
Okay, so and this is also radar indicated. Yes. So locations along 127, Ohio City, those locations are going to be under that severe thunderstorm warning. And when does that expire, Matt? Could you look up that time frame since it just popped in?
It will be expiring till 5 p.m.
Okay, perfect. So we will continue to cover these storms as they get a little bit closer there into Putnam County. That's where we're going to be seeing those track also towards Hancock County. So we will watch this line of storms that rolls through. Right now, again, we are seeing those damaging and gusty winds and also the small hail threat. So that's going to be what we continue to track for those who are going to be in our southern counties. Even southern Wood County, make sure you're keeping an eye on that WTOL 11 weather app. Same for those in southern Henry County, even towards Wyandotte and Crawford, as we continue to see quite a bit of activity further south. And we still have another line that we'll be watching as we get later onto this evening. Are there any other questions that we have?
Just about Toledo, as far as timing goes, is Toledo, when can they see some storms?
So as far as the Toledo area, it's still going to be a bit yet, and actually a lot of the stronger storms are going to be south of the Metro Toledo area. That doesn't mean let your guard down. It's May, it is storm season, but mainly we will see this threat to be isolated along I-80 and south. So if you're in the Metro Toledo area, should be in good shape. I do still, though, anticipate seeing some thunderstorms nonetheless roll through Lucas County as we get through this evening. We still have this line, but again, much of that is going to be isolated along I-80 and further south.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see.
And we have plenty of hello. Skylar is saying hello. Bob is saying hello. So we're so happy that everybody is joining us. Those were all great questions. We're going to continue to update radar. We'll also be on air again on WTOL 11 at 5 o'clock. And we'll also have updates on the WTOL 11 weather app. So make sure you're staying connected with the WTOL 11 weather team. And we hope to see you right at the 5 o'clock hour with a fresh look at the radar. Thanks for joining us, everybody.